the gaming industry and the reviews have become very interesting recently. And these reviews have been something that used to be valuable, something that people could rely on, something that you could look forward to when you were purchasing a game because it allowed for you to really assess and make a logical judgment as to which game that you should own, which game you should buy next, and if it's actually going to be the game for you. So, in one of my previous videos, we had discussed the Mouse PI review when it gave it a 6 out of 10 for the review, and it really opened your eyes to what people are really looking for in video games, right? When I see a video game, right, especially when it comes to the reviews nowadays, since there's videos and stuff like that, you can see the actual gameplay. When I look at video games, I'm like, all right, is this game going to be fun when I play it? Is it going to be challenging enough? Is it going to be something that I think is actually enjoyable to play, like a looter shooter, or something like Neo, as a Dark Souls, a Souls-like, all that good stuff. So that's what you're generally looking for in games. Is that gameplay actually worth my time, right? And as well as when you're watching these videos, you listen to the reviewer and think about what kind of things would piss you off in this game that would make you not want to buy it, right? Whether it's lagging, a lot of bugs, or it's just the source material is completely off, or the game just lacks entertaining gameplay, right? At least when you can see it on screen, it looks cool, looks fun, but when you actually play it, it lacks the substance of the game and lacks the enjoyment of playing it, right? And when I think about Mouse PI and when I was playing it and hearing the review about it, it just didn't really make sense to me because the game itself, at its core, the gameplay itself is fun, right? And as I've said in the previous video, I think it's something that entry level players could play, enjoy, and still have a fun, cool story behind it, right? Still getting all the gaming mechanics that you would need for any real game, and the cool noir kind of themed story behind it that gives it the substance, makes you really feel immersed in the game, and you can find different reasons why you're going to enjoy it, right? I'm not gonna say it's like a 10 out of 10 Elden Ring kind of game, but it's definitely a game where you can sit down on the couch, relax, crack open a beer, and just fall into and just enjoy and just play, right? Now, the game that's going to be discussed in this video is Marathon. Now, Marathon, in my opinion, just looks like a cutscene simulator, and they're trying to make movies into video games. And this is where you completely lose me as a gamer because when I play a game, right, and especially and correct me if I'm wrong, as a gamer, you would prefer the challenge of a video game than watching any movie, right? You would prefer to play a game, be interactive, actually be able to play as the main character in a story and feel as though you're in control of what is going to happen in that story, but there's still a story that is carried throughout the game, right? So for me, that progression and being able to feel like that main character is what differentiates a movie and a game, and why I would always choose playing video games over watching a movie, obviously depending on the mood. But Marathon has got things completely backwards, right? They're trying to take movie elements and put them into video games, which has worked for some games, but they're taking movie elements and stuck them into video games and forget that they have to make a game, right? How am I going to play a game, sit in front of a computer, get my controller, and play a game, but in reality, I'm just watching a short film or a movie that is however long the game is? Because there's no way, and I saw a couple clips where in the game, the cutscenes were, or your decisions were so irrelevant that you can literally put your controller down during certain interactive portions of the game, and the game will just take you to the end without you having to touch your controller. Why would I even boot up the game if I don't even have to touch up a controller? I would rather just go sit in my comfy chair and watch a movie. There's no reason as to why I would need to play the video game if it's just going to be a movie. Just so I can hit X one time, B a couple times. Like, for what? That's just making more work to watching a movie. Rather than actually making a game that has cinematic cutscenes, right? There's a big difference between making a movie and having some gameplay and making a game with cinematic elements to it, right? And even for something like Mouse PI, that's a true game at its core. But it has the storytelling that you can discover throughout the game that can almost feel like you immersed yourself in a movie. Right? So this video discusses he's saying that he's embarrassed to be a millennial. I believe that it is about marathon and how just the ideals of what gaming used to be have just been completely lost. Now, this is by Legendary Drops. He does some great content for games. So sorry, I keep pressing the transition button without actually.
Rest of society. I am so sorry. Is anybody looking to draft me? Mixtape is about as authentic as looking at family photos in a photo album at Kmart or Hobby Lobby. It is a $20, 3-hour runtime, barely interactive movie that's masquerading as a video game that is somehow, some way, rating as high as Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3, and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We were a mistake. We are nostalgia addicted. That's the
like, do people understand? Elden Ring was a completely generational game. Like, in my opinion, Elden Ring and getting as far as I did, haven't beaten it yet. I'm stuck on Melania right now. I've beaten her once, but it didn't save. So don't worry about that. But I definitely beat her once already. I still got to beat the game. But that game was so generational. In my opinion, I'm putting it as like on the level of, and probably definitely better than like the first Super Mario Brothers, in my opinion. I think that Elden Ring had accomplished a fundamental culmination of all the good things about Dark Souls and made it into one massive game that just completely immerses you, and it's just like a one-of-one kind of game right now, and you're putting a movie cutscene game on this level. Crazy.
only explanation that I have for this. It's so
Crazy.
embarrassing to see. You have journalists that are out there that are believing that this game needs to be held in the annals of history, a cornerstone of the games industry, but you have players that are just like, no, we don't want to have anything to do with it. This is like years of distrust that are just collapsing into one single moment where everybody's turning and looking at the media and saying, you don't belong here and you don't represent us. And they are so right. There are so many in the games industry today that are so detached from what players even consider is a video game anymore. I mean, these guys are handing out 10s to what is effectively a light novel with an 80s soundtrack. Like, how does that happen? They're treating their personal taste like it's some higher artistic authority that goes above what the players want or what the players need, these people that are playing and buying these games. And as such, the players are pushing back, as they should. So, is Mixtape a 10 out of 10? Well, I played it. What do you think? Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most controversial, not a video games ever made, the public's reaction to it, what game developers are hopefully going to learn from this situation, and how, for whatever reason, people just do not understand why the players are pushing back. But before that, a word from today's sponsor, Helix Sleep. Yes, these guys actually came back, luckily because it seemed to be a big hit with you guys, and I really appreciate that because that likely means that I'll be getting another mattress after I move, so good looking out on that one. Now, look, I realize me being a content creator, you guys are likely not to believe a word that I have to say when I'm trying to sell something in a sponsor. Totally understandable, actually based. With that said, well, I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you guys that a mattress is just going to magically fix all of your bad habits or all of your issues. I will say that switching to Helix definitely worked for me. Ever since I switched to a Helix, it's been now over a month. I sleep deeper and fall asleep faster than I ever have in my entire life. That's about as honest as I can be about it. I am a notoriously bad sleeper. I sleep hot. I have mild tinnitus from a bunch of different things. I roll around. I sit on or sleep on my side. I flip all over the place. And ever since I switched to them, I haven't had a single problem. Now, this mattress has not fixed my bad habits. I don't think that anything's ever going to be able to do that. But after switching, I'm getting restful sleep, the most restful sleep that I've ever had. And I'm waking up and I'm feeling like a human, which is a massive upgrade. The best thing about Helix is they don't just throw one generic mattress at everybody. You take your sleep quiz, and then you answer a few questions about your body type, your sleep preferences, whether you sleep on your side, back, or stomach, or whether or not you sleep hot, and then Helix will match you with the best mattress that fits what you actually need. They also have soft, medium, and firm mattresses, cooling options, mattress toppers, bedding, pillows, all kinds of different things. And Helix just recently released their new Comfort Adjust cooling pillow, which is actually built to be customized for your sleep position and body, still giving you the right amount of support. They also offer free shipping across the U.S., 120-night sleep trial, 27% off site-wide for their memorial. Helix Sleep for sponsoring today's video, and thank you guys for listening to me. DualShockers, Insider Gaming, and VGC all gave it a 10 out of 10, with more and more of them flooding in as the days went on. The game is now sitting at an 85 on Metacritic, and IGN's has now become the most controversial review because, well, the last games that they gave a 10 to were Elden Ring, Stardew Valley, Baldur's Gate 3, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Like,
all of these are massive, beloved, transformative games that people still talk about every single day. So naturally, this game, Mixtape, it must be an insane god amongst games, right? Right? No, definitely not. Mixtape launched to an eye-watering 15,000 players. Sorry, that's 1,500 players before reaching their peak of just over 2,000 players.
Wait, go back to that. Yeah. How do you end up with a peak number of players all time, 2,000 players, and you're going to give it a 10 out of 10? Are you kidding me? On the first day of Elden Ring, Black Myth Wukong, Zelda, Baldur's Gate 3, I guarantee it's not even a question. These things probably got those numbers in probably the first 30 seconds of the game being like uploaded. Like 2,000 people after a month, that's your peak. That's insane for a 10 out of 10 game. Come on, guys.
Sorry, that's 1,500 players before reaching their peak of just over 2,000 players. It was developed by Beethoven and Dinosaur and published by Annapurna Interactive, a subsidiary of Annapurna Pictures, a company that's owned by Megan Ellison, whose father, Larry Ellison, is the fifth richest person in the world, and also happened to bail that studio out of bankruptcy back in 2019. Isn't it great when indie games have a golden parachute? Isn't that so common in this games industry? These guys are definitely not going to be beating the allegations of being an industry plant. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I played Mixtape, or at least I pressed forward through a collection of memories an entire generation seems to wish that they had, because, well, the reception to this game is just, it is so fake to me. The reviewers that are out there that are seal clapping over nostalgia, this is over things that these guys have never even experienced. Now, I'm not saying that none of this has ever happened to anybody. Obviously, pieces of this have. People have had messy friendships and mixtapes, and people definitely had some weird nights where everything felt a lot bigger than it actually was. But Mixtape does not feel like lived nostalgia. It feels like manufactured nostalgia. It feels like people that are pining for a past that they didn't actually live, but they definitely wish that they had, and a version of youth that honestly I think only exists in old movies, old songs, and whatever Pinterest board these guys built this game around.
Hey, yo,
that's why this entire thing doesn't even come.
What is that? Why am I doing that in a game? Especially as playing as a teen. Like, no. No. I don't want to be seeing your molars, nigga. What are we talking about? That's disgusting. Ugh.
Off as true to life. It feels like somebody just watched a stack of 90s movies and just decided that's how people lived. I mean, these guys don't even do a good job at portraying the era that they're supposed to be showing here. Like, this is supposed to be the late 90s or 1999, and Slater, who's supposed to be a metalhead, is for some odd reason wearing his mom's pants instead of wearing baggy jeans or Jinkos. And I realize that might sound a little bit petty, but that kind of stuff matters when the entire point of selling this game is based on its authenticity, and also when the people that are reviewing it are crying about nostalgia, but that nostalgia is misplaced because it doesn't even make any sense. I mean, if you look at the styling of half of these characters, it looks like most of these guys are pulled out of Dazed and Confused. I mean, the guy in the white shirt and the sunglasses is literally just Wooderson from Dazed and Confused. People had even pointed out that the cassette tapes in this game don't even have the little exposed section where the magnetic tape is supposed to be shown. And this is a game.
That's crazy.
This is a game that's called Mixtape. How do you not even get that right? People are trying to treat this game like it's some kind of high art. And honestly, I feel like that could actually work. That could be a defense for some of these writers and journalists and maybe even the developers of this game. But this whole experience is so painfully mediocre and poorly written that that doesn't even work. Guys, how does this even happen? These characters don't even have any real personality or defining traits, and that's the entire point of playing a narrative game like this. Slater is a dial tone with a few random existential stoner lines. Stacy is the main character, and I couldn't tell you a thing about her other than the fact that she likes music and thinks that stalking somebody in New York is going to be her call to fame. Cassandra is arguably the most memorable character outside of her father because, well, at least she actually has something resembling a real conflict. She's lived her whole life seeking her parents' approval, and now she's finally wondering whether or not she's living her own life or somebody else's. But I actually think the best character in Mixtape is probably Cassandra's father in this case. Like, how was this guy actually portrayed as a villain? Oh man, what a terrible father, not wanting his daughter who's getting ready to go to college to go and hang out with a couple of mindless losers that all they want to do is just get drunk and high all the time. As somebody who identifies with those losers at that age, every single father that told their daughter not to hang out with me was 100% right. I was going to ruin their life. And then there's
You see, the worst part is about it too is that gameplay did not look fun at all. Like, you're just pressing a couple buttons to, like, come on. What difference did that make in me actually pressing buttons or just letting you do the cutscene? Makes absolutely no difference. And the part that you guys may have not noticed is that the dad's a cop, so of course, you know, he has to be the villain in a situation, telling you, yo, like, these guys just want to do drugs and completely ruin your life. And this is just the victim mentality, the whole, like, this propaganda of wanting to live the life of a rebellious teen constantly is so dumb. Like, listen, guys, we got our teenage years. It's time to, like, step out of it now, okay? The thing is, too, like, most people don't even enjoy their teenage years, right? Because of all the changes that's happening, all the pressures that you get out of high school and doing all that stuff. Like, why would I want to keep reliving that and play an interactive game about that? Like, that just sounds so boring to me. I don't want to go back to high school for what?
the gameplay, which honestly, would you guys have guessed, there's really not much to talk about here. I mean, quite literally every single game action is just press buttons just because. This is such a key jingling simulator.
Ew.
Make the
Like,
character
what
tap
is
to a
that?
song just because. Float the character into some boxes just because. Do some skateboard tricks just because. The entire thing just feels like they put those elements into the game just so they could technically qualify this as a video game, likely because these guys wouldn't be able to cut it making a movie.
Like, look at that. What is that animation for the books flying around? Trash. And the character, it literally looks like you have the character on your mouse just stuck there and you're just dragging her around like a tab. Like, what? How is that enjoyable?
Honestly makes a lot of sense when I look back on some of these positive reviews, as
That's
well,
fun.
it does feel like we have a lot of wannabe film critics trying to review a wannabe filmmaker's game. This game is literally just a soundtrack. Turn the music off, you just turn off the game entirely. There's nothing else to it. Now, before any of these critics hop in here and say, oh, well, you just don't get it. You don't understand what this game is trying to do. No, look, I understand the message that this game is trying to send, and I would never try to understate the importance of music here. Music can be a moment captured in time. You can remember easily when and where you heard a song, who recommended it to you, what life felt like in that moment when you were listening to it. And I had those exact same nostalgic connections with this game. When they played Sensitive to Light by Rainbow, I immediately got a flashback of the time my friend Mike had me listen to Ronnie James Dio for the first time, and how it became the only thing that we listened to for like an entire year. Hell, even the part where you sneak into the shutdown theme park reminded me of the time that my friends and I had snuck into our local zoo after hours with beer to be able to impress a group of girls. This game does remind you of things, but it doesn't do anything with that. The game doesn't try to build on that. It doesn't try to bring you any closure. It doesn't even try to say anything meaningful. It's just like, man, memories. Am I right? Man, wasn't it so much better back then? Everybody just misunderstood me. They didn't realize how special I was. They were so wrong. It's just millennial slop because my unfortunate generation has nothing of value to bring from the past other than just wishing that they were still living in it. I just do not understand how a game like this could be held in such high regard among some of the greatest games in history when it's not doing anything special other than spending a bunch of money on licensed music. Like, how do people not understand why players are upset right now? A game that is reminding you of your life is not the same thing as a game being well written. A song that's making you nostalgic is not the same thing as a game that is earning that emotion. That's the part that these reviewers seem to keep blending together in a lot of their reviews, and they let them give this game a perfect score. Look at every single one of these reviews. It's always the soundtrack that's being mentioned. It's the most notable thing about the game because it is the most notable thing about the game, because beyond that, there is just absolutely nothing. That's what players are complaining about right now. But instead of responding to that, instead of meditating on that, the second that this game came under fire from players, it got AstroTurf faster than anything I've ever seen. I mean, we even have Xbox out here putting out a statement saying just because you're not personally into a game doesn't mean it's a bad game. Then you also have people that are saying Mixtape is coming under fire for not having gameplay, which just isn't true. So you guys are just flat out lying now, apparently. Then there's also the usual defenses that have been rolling through. It's not for you. If you don't like it, don't play it. And all of this is just ignoring why people are upset. Because the issue is not that some people like Mixtape. Like, fine, go ahead, like it, enjoy it, have your memories, cry to the soundtrack. I don't care. The issue is that this is not a great game or even a good game or even a game that I would consider being a video game. It's just not representative of the hobby. It doesn't belong next to the games that it has now been elevated to stand beside. It is stealing valor from indie games while also being funded by some of the richest people in the world. I mean, they're sending out custom CD players and headphones in their press kits. And
Well, I mean, I think at this point, at best, you could have made it like an iPhone game. Like just an interactive iPhone game. Not a full game that you have to spend actual money on to... You know what? Let me actually see how much this game costs. Let me see how much this game costs. For an interactive movie right now. $20. I mean, that's not the end of the world. But why would I pay $20 when I can just go pay $20 to actually go see a good movie? Let's actually watch a little bit of this trailer. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Boy.
It's time Tonight, we're invited to Camille Cole's beach party. It's the tits, it's the jam. Everyone's gonna be there. College kids, rich kids, athletes, horse girls, skaters. It's teenage high society. Right now, we have no booze, but we do have some leads. We'll start at my house, then on to Cassandra's, free drinks at our secret hideout, then arrive beachside at 9:45 p.m.
No way.
I did it last time.
I look like a child. I can't hand over money with these little hands. Slater, you do it. You're the one with the mustache. Go eat it!
You are expelled, Stacy Rocker.
If I find you at that party, and I will find that party, you'll spend 24 hours in detention. I promise you that.
24 hours.
What are we gonna do? What's demanded of us? It's the cops.
Be chill, it's chill.
Oh no. Your boy is dropping frames. Oh no. Think we should be cut money now. But yeah, I just that whole sequence, honestly, in my opinion, you can't even tell me, oh yeah, let me go actually play this. Like, let me spend my $20 to go play this game. Like, no. There's no way that's happening.
Somehow this is being treated like some humble little artistic miracle. That is what people are reacting to. They're watching an industry put Mixtape on a pedestal and say, this is what we need more of. This is the standard. This is the kind of game that deserves to be remembered. And the players are looking at it and saying, no, absolutely not. I think what bothers me the most...
The thing is, too, how are you going to replay it? Elden Ring has replayable value. Zelda has replayable value. Baldur's Gate 3 has replayable value. Super Mario Brothers has replayable value. A game like this that barely allows you to even control what's happening around you, what are you even replaying? You're going to play it once and that's it. You find out what the story is and then boom, done. There's no choices that you have to make. There's no challenges that you have to really think hard about and really make a decision about. It's just, here, press these buttons while this cutscene goes along. Like, for what? Just make an interactive movie. Like, stop trying to make video games. It's mad disrespectful. Like, when I go sit down and play a game, I'm saying, you know what? I'm actually going to challenge myself today. If I am tired and my brain wants to fall asleep and just wants to just chill, there's no way I'm loading up a video game. You want to know why? Because I know that I'm not going to be able to focus and it's just going to frustrate me because there's actual challenge and actual thinking that needs to be involved when playing a video game. But when I want to just sit down, relax, watch a movie, watch some anime, I can do that and just turn my brain off and just watch and not have to think too hard. And just enjoy the entertainment, right? I'm not going to sit, and that's another thing too, I don't sit at a particular desk chair in order to watch a movie. I'm going to go sit where I'm comfortable and relaxing, right? But when I'm playing a game because I need to focus, lock in, and ensure that I win, I'm going to sit up at the desk because I need to focus, lock in, and really think about the challenges that are ahead of me. But when you got a game like this that's just pumping out a movie with buttons, what's the point? You're just trying to you're stuck in between two worlds that make absolutely no sense. They're like completely different spectrums. But when they come together properly, that's when you have a good game.
Most about Mixtape, and this is probably true for a lot of other people, is that everybody can see what's going on. Okay? Like, we're not the crazy ones here. The math doesn't math. This just doesn't make any sense. This game is getting far more praise than it deserves. And the minute the players start talking about that, the minute they bring that up, all of a sudden everybody wants to start acting confused. Oh, We got another victim of the culture war here. No, that's not what this is. Stop doing that. This is a short, expensive, heavily curated nostalgia product that's being paraded around like it's an indie darling that is somehow now in the same conversation as some of the greatest games ever made, and it's been defended since the moment the game came out. But it's also just not that good. Like, not even close. People are sick and tired of being gaslit, of being told that something is important by people that already want games to be a lot less like games to begin with and a lot more like things that they're interested in. Politics, music, film, things that have nothing to do with games. This game represents that to them. That's exactly why this has become such a huge flashpoint in a lot of cases. You are placing this game in the same conversation, likely also in the conversation of Game of the Year, because of course they're going to try to do that. But
Insane.
You're putting it in the same conversation as some of the greatest games ever made. Zelda and Baldur's Gate 3. And I'm trying to think of all the 10 out of 10s in the industry. I'm sure there's probably a GTA in there and maybe a couple of other things as well. There's tons of games that have gotten 10s out of 10s, but they're like the pinnacle of the
Sekiro.
games industry. That's why none of this makes any sense to anybody. But you know, I think it would be different if this was just a discussion based on taste, on personal taste. Like, oh, they just really like this game. But like, these review scores mean something. Players recognize that. They know that these game scores still, sadly enough, hold weight in the games industry, shape conversations, and also shape the future of games themselves in some cases. That's the reason why people are so upset. Players know what these scores mean. They know what they can end up doing. They know how this industry uses them. And
you know, I definitely want you guys to check out the rest of that video. He probably goes more in depth as to what he's thinking about this. But with that last part where he talks about the actual value of the review system, right? You can take a game that nobody has ever heard of, right? May not get the same marketing as some of the bigger games, may not get the same, social media presence that some of the bigger games would get. But if a game review puts it at an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, right? Someone you could actually trust, and you start to see some of the gameplay, the future of that game just skyrockets. Because now it's something that not only people can play for fun and know that it's going to be a good game, but it can also provide different avenues such as content value like Neo 3 or Elden Ring or even Sekiro and a lot of the other 10 out of 10 games. And it allows for people to say, you know what, this game is good. There's an audience that really enjoys this game, and it clearly has all the facets of what makes a great game. And it allows for us to say, you know what, I want to play this game and show other people what this game is. But when you got a game like Marathon that claims to be a 10 out of 10, and let's say you decide to stream something like this, people are going to be like, yo, what is this? This game is trash. If I wanted to watch a movie, I would have watched a movie. And then also on the content side, when you're trying to make content about something, it's like you're just going to be sitting there and maybe giving your opinions on like each of the characters in the story, but your decision doesn't matter because the story is just telling itself. So what's the point? At that point, you might as well just call it a watch party rather than a gaming stream. It doesn't make any sense. And I think it just completely spits in the face of all the gamers that really took their time to master games, enjoyed great games, and even enjoyed or played terrible games and know what the difference is, right? And know that you can't just call any game a 10 out of 10 game. There's plenty of games that really completely shifted a whole mindset, are still being played today, even after decades of being released. And you're going to put another game that's not even a game on that same level. It's just completely disrespectful. And we need to get these kind of people out of gaming, because this is the kind of mindset that has infected not only gaming but other industries, like we saw in Odyssey, right? And as well as just continuously pumping the political agenda. Like, listen, I know I have a mixed content of the news and what's happening in society, but there's also the time where we want to just have fun and be entertained and just enjoy those kind of forms of entertainment without feeling like there's some kind of agenda behind it. And it's really unfortunate, because there are a lot of potential movies, games, and things that could be created that do not get the proper attention and are psyoped by these politics. And those that are great, those that are actual good games, are then criticized and ridiculed in the media to a point where they're trying to force people to not buy them, put hate on their name, put racial things on their name, and try to say that they're causing an issue and they're a problem to society. These games are an issue. The 10 out of 10 games are misogynistic, and they don't actually accurately depict this, that, and the third, but it's a 10 out of 10 game, having over 1 million sales in a week, right? So, unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with it until the culture actually decides to shift away from just being about politics and actually starts going back to that traditional storytelling, what traditional games and what the values of games were, and really gets back to even just like the Western culture in itself, just getting back to like its self. Because right now, the culture is just completely psyoped by these culture wars, these politics, and everyone just being so focused on who's right and who's wrong, rather than producing something that is great and can bring more people together. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'll put up some clips of this stream for you guys to enjoy, for those of you who couldn't make it. And as always, stay glitched.